All right, so I was playing Pokemon Showdown this morning, and I got on a match with a guy, and I end up winning the match. But at the end of the match, we start talking about like my team, and it's kind of off center because I'm using this Meowstic, which is like a really rare Pokemon that nobody uses, but it works really well on my team. And I'm also using a weird Archaludon set because Archaludon is normally ran with like a bulkier set. I'm running a really fast and frail Archaludon because Archaludon at max speed is 150, which is pretty high. But normally, as you can see here, it has a pretty high defense stat of 130, and it has an ability stamina where it's like whenever it's hit, it raises defense. So people normally run like assault vest and a bunch of defensive investment to make this thing bulky and unkillable, and that's like the primary set. I'm aware of that set, but I don't like it because it does a few things that I don't like, which it overly relies on one Pokemon, which means like if you get crit and crits ignore all defensive like stacks and stuff and raises. So like if you get crit, you might just lose that Pokemon instantly and then you lose the game because you over relied on it. And like, or if somebody finds a clever way around it, or if you get put to sleep a bunch or stuff like that. So like I don't really like that set because it doesn't work for me, and I wanted to use a team with a more bulky Palafin, so having these two bulky Pokemon didn't really work for me. I wanted to have a little more speed, and then I was going to rely on these two for like some defensive support, this guy for some defensive support as well. So like these are the defensive backbones of my team, and I'm using this guy and this guy as like offensive threats, and this guy is a very fast offensive threat. This set was used by Wolfie, a little different, but this set was used by Wolfie to win a tournament. So I get into a match with a guy, and at the end we're talking about the weirdness of my team, and he's like, you should use bulky Archaludon, like that's like the primary set. And he's telling me this like I don't know that that's a set that exists, and he's like informing me of how broken the set is. And like I'm aware of that set, but I'm intentionally bucking like the predominant set here because it works better on my team to use this set. So I get into this conversation with the guy, and the guy says, like, you should use Bulky Archaludon, blah, blah, blah. We get into a whole thing, and eventually he says we should do a match in which you use Bulky Archaludon and I use Bulky Archaludon so you can see how good it is. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I'm looking for feedback on this team. I know the set's really good. I'll try running the traditional set and see if it works with my team. So this is that match here. He's using the set, I'm using the set. And he starts off saying, this is my top 300 team. So I start off good defensive play here. I put this means yawn means he's going to go to sleep next turn. So sure, he builds up a bunch of defensive stacks here, and he says something coming up here. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he saves it for later. But yeah, not a terrible play. But what do you get from that? He says, what do you get from that? What do you mean, what do I get from that? Your Pokemon is going to fall asleep next turn, right? And this Pokemon can't do damage, which means both Pokemon on your side of the screen are completely invalid of doing anything for the next 2 turns. They cannot do anything. So I have complete control of the board state here. I can switch in whatever I want, set up however I want, literally do anything. So I protect here to avoid getting hit by like an Encore, getting hit by a move from Archaludon, and he Encores my Meowstic. So in this scenario, he thinks he can Encore me into Protect, but I realize he's not going to Encore me into Protect because if you remember, this Whimsicott is yawned after this turn. I yawn into the Whimsicott here, which means the Whimsicott's going to fall asleep next turn if it stays in. So I know he's going to switch out because he's not going to have both of his Pokemon asleep at one time. So he says here, so I do this, and I get that. I Sludge Bomb this guy. And I know that's a safe play because, as I said, he's not going to switch out. And then he says, bro, I could have Encored you into Protect. No, he couldn't have, as I just pointed out. That's not going to work really well. So I Rage Powder here to avoid this guy going into Palafin and killing me. I try to go for a crit there. It doesn't work. He says, that's the only way you could win is if you get a crit, which is true. So I Terra to Electric here to avoid Hurricane hitting this guy, because Hurricane hits this guy with Grass with Grass typing for super effective damage. So I Terra to Electric to resist it, because I think he's going to do Electroshock into him and Hurricane into him. He ends up not doing that and just doubles the Palafin into my Protect, which just completely wastes his turn. And then I Spore his Archaludon here. His Archaludon is asleep again. His Archaludon has not done any damage to my side of the field the entire match so far. Just keep that in mind. His, broken Archaludon set has not done any damage to my side of the match. So now he's asleep, and he gets the 1-turn wake up, which is like a 33% chance. So this shouldn't even have hit most times anyway. But here I go for Helping Hand Dragon Pulse into this Archaludon, and I don't kill it. So the fact that I don't kill it here, I even point out, I say it maybe here. Yeah, I say here, if mine was offensive, I would kill, because I took some EVs out of the offensive stats in order to survive the moves and make him bulky like he wants. But if I had my set there, that would have killed, and his Archaludon would have done nothing all game. I would have outsped his Archaludon, and I would have killed it there. I would have completely just like won the game immediately. So if my Archaludon was fast and does a lot of damage like I want it to, it would have outsped him, one-shot him, and won the game. Or not one-shot him, but killed him there and won the game. So it's completely invalid. Anyway, the rest of this match plays out, blah, blah, blah. He kills me there. Yeah, he kills my Archaludon eventually, but I one-shot his Whimsicott with Sludge Bomb because it's doubly effective. I stall out his Annihilate with Poison, and then because I have Electric Terra, Hurricane doesn't kill me, and I one-shot his Pelipper, so I won the game. And he says, like, oh, I forgot about that. Like, my team building just won me the game against his team building, and his Archaludon did nothing, and my Archaludon would have won me the game. So, like, I was playing with a Pokemon down, not using the set I wanted to, and I still won the game just based on superior team building. So then I renamed my team Use Bulky Archaludon, a loser.